I'm up, Mom.
Don't want to be late for your first day.
In 1997, the WB greenlit Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a mid-season replacement for their Monday night lineup.
Who are you? Don't you know?
Creator Joss Whedon was trusting an 18-year-old, Sarah Michelle Gellar, to carry the series and wanted to surround her with a strong supporting cast.
It was so hard to put this cast together. It was a very long, arduous process.
So you're saying these vampires went to all this hassle for your basic decoder ring?
Actually, yes, I suppose I am.
Buffy's success as a Slayer depended on the guidance of her mentor, Rupert Giles. 43-year-old Anthony Stewart Head landed the vital role.
Into each generation, a Slayer is born. One girl in all the world, a chosen one born with a
Strength and skill to hunt the vampires, to stop the spread of their evil blah, blah, blah. I've heard it, okay?
Being British, you'd think Anthony Stewart would have been in tea commercials, but actually he started a very famous coffee commercial.
Just imagine if you hadn't run out of coffee.
Just imagine if you hadn't had Taster's Choice.
Giles is part of this order, and he's a watcher, and his job is to kind of watch over Buffy and the Slayer and to kind of help guide her and really be her mentor and help her out through her struggles.
As the Watcher, Giles was the father figure of the entire series, but certainly to Buffy.
I was raised by teachers, and my mom taught at my school, where I went for 10 years, so I always had an insight into the fact that they were just as tortured as we were and working much harder. That's why Giles was such an important character for me.
27-year-old Charisma Carpenter played the sharp-tongued Cordelia.
Love the hair. It just screams street urchin.
Of course, in every high school, you have to have the queen bee, and in Sunnydale, that was Cordelia.
Somebody is after me. This is all about me. Me.
Wow, for once she's right.
Cordelia began the show as the typical mean girl, but over time, the show revealed her depths, and she eventually became an ally to Buffy after Buffy saved her.
You did it. You saved us. I've never been so happy to see anyone in my whole... You guys. I just hate you guys.
My character, Cordelia, grew so much and became more fleshed out and more human and understood pain of the world and what her purpose was. And then she grew and got to be more likable and lovable.
Right. Now I'm going to be stuck with serious thoughts all day.
After Angel left the series for his own spin-off, Buffy developed another vampire crush in season 5. 38-year-old James Marsters played the polarizing bad boy, Spike.
Well, that's a boatload of manly responsibility to come flying out of nowhere. What's the matter, Slayer? You're not feeling 100%?
James Marsters did theater before this, but this was really his first big role. And also, not British. He's from Texas. Blew my mind.
I just told my agent, no, I'm not going to do that. I saw the movie. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to be in that. But they said it was Tuesday night, and they said it's on, in about 15 minutes. Why don't you watch it and call us back after the show? And then 15 minutes into watching you guys, I was like, get me on that show. Yeah.
When you first meet Spike, he is hardcore evil.
Come on, people. This isn't a spectator sport.
And then as you get to know him more and he gets a bigger role in the show, it's more of a gray area. And once he starts to interact with Buffy more, he really falls for her. He really fights to get a soul back because he thinks she might like him that way.
Take me out of a world that has you in it. Just kill me.
I wanted to talk about an unhealthy relationship. And it was borderline abusive till it actually became abusive on both sides. It wasn't just that she was with somebody dark, she found a darkness in herself. This has to do with the consequences of power, because at that point she was comfortable in her power. And that's how I invented television. You're welcome.
That really never works.
23-year-old Seth Green was already a seasoned actor when he landed the role of Oz, the guitar-playing werewolf.
At the time, a lot of people knew Seth Green from the Austin Powers movies as Dr. Evil's son, Scott.
So, what do you want to do, Scott? I don't know. I was thinking I like animals. Maybe I'd be a vet.
An evil vet?
No. Maybe like work in a petting zoo.
An evil petting zoo?
You always do that!
Oz gets into a tickle fight with his little cousin, who turns out is a werewolf, and bit him.
I wanted to ask you something. Is Jordy a werewolf? Uh-huh. And how long has that been going on?
So Oz became a werewolf. Willow actually discovered that he was a werewolf while they were dating.
This was the first time I got to play like a real romantic lead that wasn't like a novelty joke, kiss of the girl kind of thing.
And now we're probably just gonna die, and I'd like to feel that maybe you would...
So that was fun.
You were a leading man.
You were a
I
leading
got to
man.
play guitar and fight dudes with my fists, kiss a girl and have people be like, oh, that's a good thing.
A werewolf in love.
One of the biggest twists of Buffy the Vampire Slayer was the introduction of her sister Dawn in season 4.
What are you doing here?
But the twist was that everyone on the show acted as if she had been there the entire time.
Buffy, if you're going out, why don't you take your sister?
Mom!
When you have a world that's highly set in mythology, you can kind of make up your own rules, and maybe that is introducing a character 4 seasons in.
I introduced Dawn because I felt like there was a dynamic I hadn't seen. Sibling stuff is different than friend stuff, and we hadn't gotten to play any of that.
It doesn't matter where you came from or how you got here. You are my sister.
14-year-old Michelle Trachtenberg was cast as Dawn 4 years after starring in the Nickelodeon film Harriet the Spy.
I was a fan first because I was a huge fan of the show. I went and read for Jocelyn Marty, again, like you said, like 3 pages. And I was like, I really like Willow, and she's like really cool clothes and stuff. And we looked like sisters, but I was a fan. It was really prevalent throughout my whole school how big Buffy was an influence.
I wish Buffy Summers had never come to Sunnydale.
Done. 24-year-old Emma Caulfield played Anya, the Vengeance Demon.
She's 1,000 years old, and she grants wishes to women who are scorned in some way and want vengeance on some guy. And also my favorite character.
And she's there to help Cordelia, who had just been cheated on by her boyfriend Xander. And by the end of the episode, Giles enacts the spell, and she is actually turned back into her human form.
I was feared and worshipped across the mortal globe, and now I'm stuck at Sunnydale High. Mortal. Child. And I'm flunking math.
What was supposed to be a 1-episode appearance became a 5-year gig.
Yeah, I was hired for a guest star. That was all it was supposed to be. And then I was asked back, and then it was like, hey, I'm sure we'll see you again. And that just kept happening until one day I was there. Forever. I don't have a date for the prom.
Well, gosh, I wonder why not. It couldn't possibly have anything to do with your sales pitch.
Men are evil. Will you go with me? I have no idea why he paired us up.
Because it was TV magic? I mean, really?
You're funny and you're nicely shaped, and frankly, it's ludicrous to have these interlocking bodies and not interlock. Please remove your clothing now.
Sparks flew.
Sparks flew.
It's good. It just worked.
Welcome to Sunnydale. A clean slate, Buffy. That's what you get here. What's past is past.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer premiered in March 1997 on the WB. At the time, the network had only been around for 2 years and was still finding its audience.
Now, this is not going to be pretty. We're talking violence, strong language, adult content.
But with nearly 5 million viewers tuning in, the first episode was a huge success.
See what happens when you roughhouse?
You know, I think we were fortunate that the expectation was pretty low. I mean, you're a mid-season replacement on a network that nobody knew based on a less than successful movie, and I thought, great, I can pay my rent this month. You know, I don't think any of us saw this.
No way.
Buffy quickly became a hit and allowed the WB to brand itself as a destination for teen audiences.
Fans were the only ones who loved the show. Critics also celebrated it for its witty dialogue and its well-written female characters.
I'm gonna give you all a nice, fun, normal evening if I have to kill every single person on the face of the earth to do it.
Yay.
This show really found its audience, and people didn't really like Buffy, they loved Buffy. People were really obsessive about it. It was a very cult show.
Oh, look, it's the Three Musketeers.
The show took off much faster than we expected. We just assumed we were going to make something good that was fun and people would have fun and not notice that it was good. That we were doing that part for ourselves.
It was utilizing the horrors of adolescence manifested through these actual monsters.
Not wrong about that. And the critics and the audience instantly understood and appreciated the metaphor completely. There was no hiding behind anything. They knew what we were doing and they were into it. It was startling.